Hey everybody, my name's Maximus,
My name is Ethan.
and welcome to the Reincarnated Pod. Two dudes talking about anime because we love this fucking shit.
Big fan, big fan.
Absolutely. Hey, before we get into anything, big disclaimer: we don't know everything. We're gonna end up getting shit wrong. Again, we're just two dudes who love talking about anime. If we're wrong, let us know. If you disagree or agree with our opinions, let us know as well. But without further ado, let's get right fucking into it.
Hell yeah.
Starting off strong, show that I absolutely loved, Frieren.
Yeah, Frieren is fantastic, dude. I remember when it first came out, I had seen stuff, just people had been talking about it for a little bit, right? There was some stuff, a little bit of hype, if you will, before that season came out. I remember season one, I was like, wow, this is really good. And it just continues to get better as we get into these further seasons here. And I know that you started it a little bit later than I did, and I think you seem to be kind of pleasantly surprised. You were like, "Wow, this is slow. This is slow.
Yeah,
Take it a little
yeah,
bit slower." And
yeah. No, definitely. I mean, I started. You put me on it. I started it probably probably beginning of January, and
yeah,
I finished it within a week. I finished
yeah,
the first season within a week. And no, absolutely, it was completely different to the fast pace I normally really like. It's slow pace, but it's paced. The slowness is paced really well.
mm,
It definitely takes on kind of a different role than most animes. This starts off after Frieren and Himmel and Aizen and Hyder defeat the Demon King.
mm,
Right, and that is normally the ending of most animes, right? That's normally where we get to, but rather they start there, and when I first saw that, I'm like, where the fuck is this gonna go? And
mm.
I will say, it did take me a few episodes to really get into the story, but once I was in the story, I was dialed, I was immersed into this world, into Frieren. It was. I mean, it's basically it's in a way a slice of life, and then all of a sudden at the end of the season, we just get some fucking wild animation,
Yeah.
which is
And
fucking incredible.
what I was super happy with it, I agree. I think the beginning was a little bit slower, and I think they do really rely on that slice of life, almost like the atmosphere they have is very laid back, which I really enjoy, and it gives us time to like develop the characters, which I really enjoy how they do character development in Frieren because a lot of it is told, sequentially through other people's backstories, which is really cool. So you have like let's look at Hyder for example. I mean, he's gonna be our immediate first jump into things, right? Got a priest, cool, dig that. Or is that Eisen? Am I getting that wrong? I don't think I'm flipping
No,
that.
no,
Yeah.
Hyder's the crest priest. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So, I mean, we already have him with Fern in the very beginning. We get to get those two kind of melded together. And then later on, we get our third core member being Stark. Stark gets kind of dropped off by Eisen. Not necessarily dropped off, but you know what I mean? And we just kind of get this core group that's met because of the flashbacks. And then from there, we have our developed group in there, and we get to see how they interact with each other, which is really well done, I think is a good way to put it, because they make this very believable dynamic that they give with Fern and Stark kind of going back and forth, and then you have Frieren and Fern have their own, like, I want to say like a maternal relationship kind of in both ways, which is kind of funny because you have moments where Fern's taking care of Frieren, which is I think it goes to give a lot of personality to Frieren, to someone who's otherwise rather dry, where you get
Yeah.
these
I
little
mean,
moments.
no, absolutely. I mean, it definitely gives to her personality, considering her age, right? I mean, she's an
Yeah.
elf. She's been around for a long time.
Hmm.
And she's still this kind of in a way child, right? She sleeps all day. Of course, that stems from the fact that she has so much more life than a human would, right? Her sleeping an entire day doesn't really mean shit to her.
Hmm.
That's like a 1 millionth of her life. But Fern, obviously, Fern wants to get on with her life. She wants to have adventures. She wants to become a better maid, and she's kind of giving this motherly instinct to be like, wait, like, fuck, get your shit together.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's also like Frierin's this extremely powerful mage, and I mean, you can see we definitely see that at the end of the season, but you see it throughout the entire season, right? I mean, she's doing shit that that it's a baseline to her, right? Even like the idea of concealing her mana, like the amount that she does it is off the charts. But in that sense, she's kind of maternal towards Fern, because Fern wants to be that strong. Fern wants to be at that level of basically, essentially, just god tier level. Obviously not there, but that's kind of what Frieren gives off.
It makes me wonder too. I don't know if that's necessarily Fern's like main end goal. I think that her whole thing in the beginning was she wanted Hyder to be proud of her, and that kind of, I think, spirals as Hyder is no longer in the story. Again, spoilers. Everybody kind of tuning in just now. As that happens, you kind of start to take. I would say their story, the story of the three of them, actually starts to take bloom at that point in time. Where Fern decides that she's just kind of in it to win it. She's following around her teacher, her master, right? Then you get, Stark added in there, and you get really cool setup. I really like how, even though it's a little bit slower, it doesn't feel incredibly slow. Like, you get a lot of these times where you're seeing these flashbacks where we get a lot of these action scenes. We're getting a bunch of like crazy things of the original party, or Frieren's original party, fighting. You get these really cool moments where, let's say, for example, in season 2, there's a moment where all of them fall into a cave, and for some certain circumstances, Frieren and Fern can't use their magic, right? And that's a really cool moment, because that helps further develop the group and the trust they place in each other, and it's just showing each other that they are like a unified party, and that's just I think it's a nice touch how they really ease into things, because it feels very organic. Like, it doesn't feel forced. Something I think I'd bring up is this has a lot of similar roots to like an isekai, right? At least it feels that way for me. I don't know if you've all been on the same boat here lately. Maybe we can address the elephant in the room that they've kind of solved anime as a content form, I think, in where a lot of the content we're getting is just rehashed isekai content. Hey, I'm really overpowered. Hey, I get a cheat skill. Hey, I'm a vending machine. Hey, I'm a spider, right? Like, you've got all these like
slime.
Yeah, dude, you've got all these crazy things that they're just like recycling the same thing over and over again. And while Frieren's in that same vein, I would say, it acts very similarly to an isekai. It's cool how they tell the story backwards, is what it feels like. And not only that, but they do justice to each of the characters. They all feel very distinct, have their own like different abilities and styles of magic, which is cool. I also like how they give time to let the characters breathe. There's in the mage exam, Stark's not even there. Bro's just off doing things, and I think that's really nice how they do that, because they also do that with Frieren, right? They don't give you immediately, like, that that she's this like super intelligent, super long-lived, right, incredibly powerful mage. You get that from the fact that she's the apprentice of an already powerful mage, right? A generationally like well-known mage is Flam, who's written about in storybooks, right? And it's cool that we get to see all this, especially when it comes to when we first see her fighting demons, right? I believe the first example is with God, what's the guy's name who made Zoltrak? Is that Ball? I feel like maybe I'm thinking of something else here.
I'm not exactly sure. I know that 80 years ago they had sealed him. 80 years prior to fighting, they had sealed the guy. And then, Zoltrak basically became ordinary offensive magic, right? And I mean, I think that was also kind of, obviously it was intentional, but it wasn't like really pushed out there like, hey, like, this is how humans grow. Like, we learn things and we see things and we learn them and we develop them, right?
Yeah.
But it was just very clear that it was like, oh, you showed us this attack magic, now it's fucking useless.
Yeah. And his name was
Qual.
You
used to be, what was his name?
His name was Qual, Qual.
Qual. Okay.
Qual.
Yeah. But yeah, I think I do agree. They definitely let the characters breathe. Stark's my favorite character, so I am pretty sad that in the last few episodes of season 1, I didn't really get to see him very much. But at the same time, it'll allow him. I think it'll allow him to take the spotlight a little bit more every here and then, and still be able to you know, I mean, the show's called Frieren, right? It had to be it's about a mage. It should be focused on mages. You know, Stark's a offensive motherfucker who is, first of all, fucking, he's just so cool in my opinion.
Yeah.
You know, I wish he believed in himself form, because I mean, Eisen said it himself that he was scared of Stark.
Yeah,
He was scared of him.
I gotta agree with you. I actually just really like Stark's character design. I mean, I remember seeing his axe the first time. I thought I really liked the design of it. I like, you know, he's got like the wraps. Kind of reminds me of like Rock Lee in that sense of like, he's this martial character in a world of essentially magic, right? I mean, Rock Lee's not necessarily in magic, but close enough, right? Like, you've got this guy who's strong enough that he's splitting like a cliff down the middle of it when you first meet him. Like, that's already... Like, they give us enough hints to understand that this guy's great. Like, he's fantastic. But they don't really show us until he single-handedly slaps a dragon to the earth and, you know, kills the thing. So
I mean, that was the moment that he realized it too. And still, even after that, he you know, he doesn't, you know, he doesn't really trust himself. He doesn't see his strength. Like, he thought, like, you know, at some part of his mind, he thought that was a fluke. You know, he thought that wasn't like, but that was him, right? And you know, considering that the world of magic, when they get dropped into that cave, they don't have their magic anymore. They have to fully rely on Stark, and Stark's sitting there just like, I want to run again. I want to run again. And Frieren's like, you don't have, like, I've put my entire trust, like, I trust my life with you. And he's like, all right,
even
fuck
if
it. Like,
like even if you have to run, like, we trust you. We know you'll get us out of here. Like, we are not stressing.
Yeah.
Like, that is like a quintessential thing you see in like dungeon crawler content, right? Maybe not even dungeon crawler content, but just like anything that's party based, right? I mean, look at like D&D or something like that. You have to have like pretty solid trust in the people that you do things with. You could even, like, if you want like a real world equivalent, we can look at let's say special forces, right? Like, you got to trust everybody in your group. You got to know that if, you know, something happens, you say something, everybody's going to follow along. And you've got this, our group has a really good job of doing that, where Frieren says it best, where she doesn't even seem stressed in that cave moment. She says, you know, I trust you to get us out of here. I know you can do this, which is cool because he does. And, you know, we get all these bits of really cool development. And then once they really, you know, they oil us up with all of that. And then they come out of nowhere and start swinging with these crazy combat scenes. I mean, if we look at the first class mage
Frieren
exam
versus Frieren.
Yeah, that was so sick, dude. It is so sick. And they give you appreciation for just the restraint, man. Dude, that's what I'm saying. Wow. Just,
wow.
Dude, they give us, they're finally giving us that payoff that we've been waiting for. It's funny because we've been waiting for Frieren to do this the whole time. And of course, it's not even her. It's just a mirror image challenge of her, which is, I think, even more fun because it makes Frieren and Fern both have to work at like the outer bounds of their abilities.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, like, but also, I thought it was really cool because, like, I mean, even in that fight, Frieren really didn't use that much like, she used a few excess spells, you know, that we really hadn't seen her use. I mean, obviously, we only really see her use ordinary attack magic, but she, like, even in that fight, she really didn't do anything extra. With the complete, all of that crazy shit we saw was from her mirror, and I think that kind of just, like, really, like, I feel like not only did it mirror her as her abilities, but in a sense it mirrored her character, and because she's very defensive. Like, her favorite spell is a thing of flowers. You know, it's to create a field of flowers, right? And in that fight, the other Frieren didn't use any ordinary attack magic. So I think that really just shows, like, I think that just kind of puts a really big emphasis on how Frieren's character is, as, like, she just doesn't want to use it to fight. Like, that's not her goal in magic. That's not what she wants. Obviously, when she comes across demons, it's a completely different story. Fuck those motherfuckers. But I mean, I think it just does a really good job of emphasizing her character and her character's mental state. And I mean, obviously, you know, she can use the craziest magic I've fucking seen. Mm-hmm. Aside from, like, Ainzel Ghoul from fucking Overlord.
From Overlord.
You know, but I mean, it was just it was really nice to see, like, you know, even in a situation like that, she's still sticking to her bounds. She's still sticking to, you know, her beliefs and all of that. And I mean, she really only does it when necessary. And I really like that. I tend to not like it when animes kind of divulge from the character path of who they've created, right? Who they've emphasized throughout the story. And I mean and it's those moments where it's like, okay, I'm finally fighting someone who equals my strength, because it literally is her. But still, even when she does that, she's still minimally using excess magic other than ordinary attack magic, and she's still leaving most of the attacking to Fern.
Yeah. Which I think kind of bringing it on to Fern's a really good idea here, because what I was thinking of was when in that one arc where they're going into that village where the demons have kind of not necessarily taken over, but have kind of taken residence there, right? We have those fights with Fern and that main demon, as well as Stark with the other one. I don't remember the demons' names at the moment in time, but it doesn't matter because they're gone now.
They're fucking pussies. I'm not gonna remember
slapped.
their name.
I think that the fight scene with Fern and the blood demon is so fucking sick, because we finally get to see her kind of what she's good at, which is just sheer volume, right? That's one of the things they mention a lot of the time, is just she is just like a Gatling gun of just ordinary offensive magic, but it just overpowers people because they're not used to that volume, right? Yeah, sure.
Yeah, they're not used to the volume. They're not used to the volume or her casting speed, right? That was the thing that Frieren was like, you are 1,000,000% better at that than me. And I like, and I mean, fucking take the fucking compliment from a fucking 1,000-year-old mage. God damn.
She's basically a god at that point. I mean, her and Sari are both in that same range, right? Like, you've got people who are so long-lived that you can't even imagine the amount of pages in their spell books, right? I mean, they it seems like they intrinsically know the spells after they learn them, right? But like, man, I imagine this shit's like a stack, like yay tall, of just documents, and it's just like, you gotta wonder what's all up in there.
I mean, we essentially see that when every time Sari comes into play, other than at the end, like all those books behind her, that's basically her grimoire, right? Obviously, she probably has a lot more knowledge outside of that, but I mean, but that's essentially her grimoire, and I'm guessing Frieren's somewhere the same. Obviously, I mean, Sari's been around longer. She was already at that level when Frieren was training. That was 1,000 years ago or some shit.
Something like that.
So I mean, I would really love to see a fight between those two, because what the fuck is gonna happen?
I feel like they
what
have to.
What the fuck is gonna happen?
Like that, it feels like that's what I'm. Again, this is from like the perspective of someone who hasn't read the manga, so I couldn't tell you for sure if the manga that happens, but I feel like that's what it's building towards, right?
I gotta say, it's pretty disappointing. As two avid manga readers, we haven't read this manga.
Isn't that crazy to me, dude? Like, we've actually read so many series, and then just this one that we both actually really enjoyed, we just haven't gotten around to yet.
Yeah.
Blows my mind. I also still need to get into the I've seen it all, but I know that the Hunter x Hunter is supposedly making a comeback. Is that not gonna happen?
Man, they say every 6 months there's apparently a new comeback. Like Togashi, I think his name is his back disease is apparently healed, and then he'll write like a chapter, and then it'll be like, oh well, he's fucked again. So
yeah, it's awful. The poor guy, right? Because he's got a generational mind, and he's
generational.
I at first stayed away from Hunter x Hunter just because it seemed very kiddie. And I didn't want to kind of walk myself into some sort of like children's show, and then I watched it and I understood, because it's just that good. If you haven't seen it yet,
I mean, the first beginning of it, yeah, I'm not gonna get into it, but if you have not seen Hunter x Hunter, that bitch is what 154 episodes of fucking greatness
of just gas, just straight fucking gas the entire way through. It's pedal to the metal once you hit a certain point, and it's just watch it. So, I think another thing I really like about Frieren is the magic system. I think is really cool. One of the things they talk about is that you have to be able to imagine yourself being able to do certain things, right? So let's say, as an example, the one, what is her name? The chick that can do the cutting magic, where she can just like, she's kind of like Sukuna. Yeah. How sick is that? There's a couple scenes there that I really wanted to bring up where she had said, I just never imagined I couldn't cut it. or can you imagine cutting this? Like the hair, for example, for the one of the exam holders, right? Like she said, yeah, I can imagine cutting hair, so I could probably cut your hair. And her magic's all about using her hair, right? So it's the idea of visualization being a key component to the magic system is so cool. It's
No, yeah.
because magic as a whole is already imaginary, right? So the idea that you have a system that specifically depends on how well you can use your imagination and what limits you've already imposed on yourself, being like imposed limits on your abilities, is really really cool. It's like a very it's not super complex. It's a little bit niche, but it's super cool how they've done that because I haven't seen that really done well in the past before. And I don't think that they really do a
I
good
mean,
job
I can't.
No,
What
you're
were you
good.
saying? Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say I don't feel like they necessarily like show it. Like they say it a lot. I don't know how often they really show it in Frieren that like it has to be that case. But I do love the idea of that in the magic system. I think it's really neat.
Yeah, I mean, as for showing it, I mean, I think that really just came into play at the end there, like during the mage exams, the
Yeah.
first class mage exam. Like them bringing it up all the time, like, excuse me, I can't imagine myself being that, or as you said, Ubel being like, I could like hair is meant to be cut, so why couldn't I? And and she fucking put it out. Or when she was going against the last time she did the first class mage exam or second class or whichever one it was, and they had the first class mage proctoring it, and they're like, if you can land a hit on me, then if you do damage to me, then you pass, and she just fucking kills Awesome, right? It's I mean. I think that is a really interesting idea. I think it really just highlights like what magic actually is, right? It's like it's a creation of imagination in a sense, and having that as a component of the power system, is just really. I mean, like you said that people hadn't really done it well before. I don't think I've ever seen it. I'm not exactly sure like what anime you're specifically talking about. That's done that badly before, but I've never seen it, and it was something just really it did feel niche. It was fucking sick. I mean, besides that, also just kind of when Frieren kind of stated that she has lost 11 times to people with lower mana supplies than her. Those kind of things as well, like also being like not just having a power system where it's like, oh, the bigger the pool, the bigger the better,
Right.
Obviously like that's a big factor in JJK. Obviously there's a few other differences, but Yuta can basically just clap anybody because he has essentially an unlimited pool, right?
Yep.
Gojo's eyes allow him to essentially not use cursed energy, because he just has such refinement of his technique because of them, right? But having a power system that doesn't just rely purely like a magic power system, that doesn't just purely rely on the pool, the how much mana you have. It's refreshing to say the least.
It is, right? It's nice to see something where it's just like, oh, I have this overpowered thing and nobody can stop me, and there's nothing that can stop me because I have all queens and you have all pawns, right? I can't do that. I'm so tired of it because I feel like what really makes a story, I mean, at least for me, right, what makes anime compelling, number one, I like to see good animation. I think that's a big portion for me. But I think what also makes it compelling is just like solid story structure, right? I want to see somebody struggle, right? That's what made Berserk so good for me, right? This character just goes through it over and over and over and over and over again. And every single time you're like, how is he going to get out of this? Right? And that's what I like when stories don't lead you to believe that this character is invincible. Like, sure, they allude to Frieren being ridiculously strong, right? And the same thing with Seri, which is nice, right? They're like, oh, well, guess what? This character is something else. Like, this is long lived. This is magic. It's all going to scale. But they don't make it feel like they're never going to have the possibility of losing, right? They're always going to give you like, okay, well, something could happen, And I don't think we've seen it super well yet. Like, I think even in that fight where the Frieren mirror match at the end, like, yeah, it was tight. I don't think it was necessarily like crazy tight by any means, but I think what makes it nice at the very least is they didn't make it like, you walk in, you lay them on the floor and then you go home, right? I'll give an example. This is not necessarily a great example because I actually love this series, was Eminence in Shadow. I absolutely loved. Okay, I don't know if you saw this one. That was great. I really enjoyed it. It felt like it was like a satire on the genre. But one thing that I think that works for them, but it wouldn't in any other case, is like just the overpowered one shot kill skill, right? Where he's got the I am atomic thing. Do you remember this? I don't know if you've seen the show or not.
I have not.
Okay, well, worth your time. It's a funny little 20 episode watch.
Hell yeah.
But he's got like this instant one hit, I win this fight skill, right? Which, even though Frieren has all these crazy abilities, it doesn't feel like she's using them, which is cool. And it doesn't feel like immediately everything becomes trivial and there's there's nothing that you can really that's insurmountable, right? I like seeing that there's challenge, that there's difficulties, and I think especially like the flashbacks where we go back to the older questing party with Himmel and Eisen and everybody. We get to see that a lot, is where they have their struggles along the way, right? They have their growing pains as a group, and it's a lot of really good development that I've been happy to see in this series, especially for a newer one. I'm an advocate for a lot of the older series. I like a lot of the the crazy hand drawn stuff. Like if you watch Redline, Akira, a lot of the classics. But I think Frieren has a really good balance of the story's great, the animation's phenomenal, and I feel like the story's compelling. So I'm super happy with this series, and I think that the I don't know who the mangaka is, but they should be rather proud of themselves because it's a phenomenal series they have going here.
Absolutely, they should be rather proud of themselves. I mean, it's like it's a show that it kind of piggybacks off the storyline that's not really seen anymore. I feel like that was a lot more popular back when, like in older animation. When it couldn't get too crazy, but now you have fucking Mappa, Ufotable, just doing fucking like China, doing shit that like what the fuck, right? Super Cube episode 7, To Be Hero X, right? Fucking
Man.
Demon Slayer, all that kind of shit, right? You can basically just piggyback off of the fact that this shit's going to look insane. It's guaranteed to. But Frieren, even with that ability, still just fucking comes out guns a-blazing on this plot, the storyline, the character development, the characters themselves, right? I mean, we know that they can do some crazy shit considering the Frieren versus Frieren fight, but they waited until you were drawn into the story, so you were immersed into the world to really rip that out, and I really like that. That's refreshing. That's awesome. I'm really excited to see where this goes, and I'll definitely be tapping into the manga soon, no fucking doubt.
No doubt, dude. It's definitely worth it. I think at least I'm gonna read the manga at some point here. They obviously put a lot of effort into it, and the community really cares about it, which is already a really big boon.
And I think that when we were talking when Anime of the Year came out, and we were talking about it, and you were trying to get me to watch the show, you'd said that you thought that they should have won Anime of the Year. Do you still stand by that?
Yes, dude. I love Solo Leveling, and I read the not the manga,
manhwa,
but
great.
the manhwa. Right, phenomenal. I loved it. I thought it was great.
The manhwa is better than the anime.
I think so. I do think so, right? And I understand why people got behind it the way they did, because there's a lot of hype for Solo Leveling because it deserves it. Solo Leveling's great. But I also think that Frieren deserved it more, honestly. And I think this is because mostly, I mean, season 1 of the Solo Leveling anime disappointed me a little bit. And I say that because I think the animation had a lot to be desired there. I think that they didn't necessarily convey it as well as they could have, and I think that, especially for a series like Solo Leveling that has such a huge fan base, I don't think season 1 did as well as they could have. Season 2 kicked it into gear, but I don't think season
2
1
kicked it in the gear animation wise. But something that really upset me was overall just the fact that like the animators and like the producers are kind of divulging from the manga in a sense, and the manhwa. Sorry. And I don't like that. And I mean, obviously, I don't know how Frieren manga is, but if you're, I mean, whatever. If they're not following the manga, well, damn. But like they're doing an incredible fucking storyline. Like it's an incredible storyline. So I'd have to think that it follows the manga. But just I didn't like the fact that Soul Leveling, and especially in season 2, we saw a lot of kind of pushing away from some key points, and I didn't like that. And I like, as much as the animation was sick, I loved it. I don't think it deserved Anime of the Year. And while I hadn't watched that at the time, now that I've watched Frieren, I have to agree with you, Ethan. This may be another one in a lifetime, like Full Metal Alchemist.
Oh man, yeah, and like don't get me wrong, I'm not comparing it to Full Metal Alchemist by any means. I mean, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood's top of the top for me. I think that's just like a succinct story, right? Like they do that's 10 out of 10. They do an excellent job, right? There's a reason it was like
Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood.
What's that?
Brotherhood.
Yeah, Brotherhood
just
specifically,
to be
because
clear.
that's the one that specifically people. But one thing that I think Frieren does really well that I think just kind of pushes it above Solo Leveling, in my opinion, is I think it's just because it lends what's the word? I think that Frieren has more validity to it because just of how Solo Leveling works. Because it is like these system animes, right? Where it's like, oh, do this, get rewarded. Do this, get rewarded, which kind of makes it predictable to a sense, which can be good. And I like it because every once in a while I like to have a show that's just like, you walk in, use, your Master Chief, or you're like Doom guy, right? Like you're walking in, you're clearing everything out, and then you're going home at the end of the day, right? Which is cool. Mm-hmm. But in Solo Leveling, there was not a single moment throughout either of the seasons of the anime. There wasn't a single moment where I thought to myself, this guy might lose. This might not go well. That's where I start to really have issues, because it feels like they're leading a little too far into that OP protagonist, which again, that's the whole point of Solo Leveling. But I'm almost like a little tired of it to an extent. And I think that while Solo Leveling does it well, I think Frieren, just for like, uniqueness sake, even, I think just kind of tops it personally.
Yeah.
And
obviously, the anime world's very favorable on animation, so it's kind of tough to, kind of tough to beat a show that just came out ripping from episode 2.
Yeah,
just absolutely fucking.
Yeah, just moving, dude, just moving. I think that I'm trying to think, because I think Stark's probably my favorite character in this series so far with Frieren. I think Stark's a lot of fun because he's kind of like the comedic relief sometimes. Mm-hmm. But I also like Yubel, I think, is a fun character too, the slashing one, because she kind of reminds me of Sukuna from JJK. And she has a very similar, kind of a similar, attitude as well. It's like, oh, you couldn't imagine cutting this? I can. Right? It's just like, I can. Like, I can do this. Like, that's fun. I like that. And I think that, they have a varied cast. I mean, who's the one guy that left, like, a doppelganger in the entirety of the exam? You remember what I'm talking about? The one guy?
Yeah, when Sari was like, you haven't even left your fucking hometown. I'm like, yeah. What the fuck?
Bold man.
I mean, bold, but that's pretty fucking baller. Hey, by the way, all of you guys who showed out, I just want to let you know, I can become a first class mage while I'm sipping fucking tea.
Yeah. He was just at that little what was it? He was at a little table just sipping tea at like a little cafe, just hanging out. He seemed a little surprised that Sarah even noticed. Like, that's brazen. That's brazen.
Yeah, I mean, also, like, how far away was he? Because I mean, in the anime, it went through like a forest, a mountain, and then a city, all the way into his crib.
You gotta wonder what his range is, right? Like, he doesn't, like, it seems like it can really work autonomously from him. At least his magic can. That's what it seems like, right?
Well, maybe it's in the sense of kind of like there isn't a kind of like Naruto's shadow clone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so it's like it relays information to the main one, but it does work autonomously.
That was hot.
Thanks, baby.
Yeah, I like that. And with Frieren as a whole, I think what I'm just really excited for is it seems like there's a lot of content to come. Where they mentioned this story, like the length of time it's going to take them to get to the end of their journey is like, what, 10 years? I think is what they said. Dude, there's so much content that I feel like I'm missing out on for this. And the one elf that we got to meet at one point in time, the male elf. Remember him, the priest, who had like the statue of him. Craft.
I think he's sick as fuck.
What a cool character, man. I think that's what's neat about a lot of these elven characters is like they obviously have some crazy escapades, like all of them. They all get up to some crazy shit. Kraft obviously gets up to something. The dude's jacked, right? Like he's some sort of holy man. He has statues made of him. Like he's obviously doing things. I want to learn more about him. I'm very excited to see what
he's
happens.
Obviously making fucking moves.
Yeah, right? Dude.
And I really want to see him fight because he's a monk. So I have to assume that he uses magic to emphasize his fighting skills.
He's gonna beat the brakes off of somebody, dude. That's what I think is gonna happen.
I hope he does.
I think he is. He's gonna roll up on someone.
I
want
to
see the
monk move. I want to see the monk move.
Dude, he's gonna be doing like backflips and shit. I already know it. Like I can see him do. Like I'm looking at pictures.
Okay,
of him right
he's
now.
a monk, not a monkey, Ethan.
Dude, same. Dude, monks. Okay. If you've ever played D&D, we play in a D&D group. Don't let this kid fucking walk around and try and pretend like he doesn't know ball. Okay, you know monks do crazy monk shit. Okay, they're all dexterous and flippy and floppy, whatever the fuck they do, dude. I don't know.
Flippy floppy. That's quite a way to describe it, Ethan.
All right. Well, he's moving around. You know what I mean.
We know he's moving. We know he's moving, right?
He's moving off to one direction, that's for sure, dude.
He's moving on. He's moving. That's guaranteed. Yeah. Either way, I am really excited to see where this show goes. Obviously, the manga has 147 chapters out, 147 chapters out so far, and it's still going. First season only got done with the first 60. So I'm guessing we're not even going to catch up to the manga in the second season. So definitely we'll have to tap in to the manga.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, that's all I got. Anything left for you, Ethan?
I think we're pretty much kind of coming to the end of it. I think Frieren deserves your love and attention if you haven't given it to it yet. Definitely worth your time. I think that of the newer anime out here that's been coming out in the last couple of years, definitely up there with like JJK and things deserving of your attention, right? I think that it's one of those shows that's going to have some staying power. So definitely give it some, give the creators
give it some love, give it some time to cook, and I promise you will not be disappointed.
Exactly. I couldn't have said it any better. Thank you all for coming by today. We really appreciate you, and hope you have a good rest of your day now, all right?
Yeah. Thanks for listening to the Reincarnated Pod.